Good evening. On behalf of my board colleagues, I call to order the Board of Education meeting. Today is Tuesday, June the 23rd. Monday, June the 23rd. At this special welcome to those joining us here this evening, as well as those joining us online. Special welcome to Commissioner Priola. Special welcome to ABSS staff, and as always, our friends from the media. This time, I will turn the floor over to our Vice Chairman for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Engel.
Yes, ma'am.
Board members, you've had an opportunity to review the agenda. Is there a motion to approve at this time?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you both. I'll give that one to Mr. Wagner. Any discussion?
Madam Chairman.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Good evening. I need to just make a quick announcement for the board and for the public under policy updates H1 dual employment. I want to let you know that while we'll have a discussion this evening, we do not plan on having a vote on that item. And I'll have a discussion on maybe some things we can do in lieu of the dual employment policy. So I know we had some folks signed up to speak, but we do not plan on moving forward with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Fleming. Any other conversation? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously 7-0. Board members, you've had an opportunity to review the minutes from our 2 May meetings. Is there a motion to approve those as presented?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Engel. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Hall. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously 7-0. Board members, you have before you a consent agenda with 6 items on it. Is there a motion to approve those as presented?
Motion to approve those as presented.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Hall. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously 7-0. Thank you. This time we will move into Board of Education business. I don't really have anything this month other than to remind you that we do not have a planned meeting in July. So thank you for your what? Oh, well, that was premature. I apologize.
I was going to I'll bring this up in my comments, but since you mentioned it, we are going to ask for a called meeting in July only on Zoom from wherever you may be, because I know several of you, including us, we have plans too. So I know you may be wherever, but it's only because we're doing so much hiring. We do need to do a personnel meeting to approve a personnel report, new teachers, administrators, whomever they may be. But we can do that. We'd go into a closed session, discuss personnel report, come out and vote, and we'll be done. And we can do that remotely.
Thank you, Dr. Fleming. So we'll see you virtually.
We're going to talk about the date a little bit.
We'll see you virtually in July. So we will move into public comments at this time, and I believe we have 5 speakers signed up. I'll take a quick opportunity to briefly review the board policy, section 2310, titled Public Participation at Board Meetings. You can find the full policy online. Per policy, individuals who have signed up may speak for up to 3 minutes. The timer will chime after exactly 3 minutes. We do ask that you plan accordingly and respect any additional directions given. Profanity, making threats, or revealing confidential student or personnel information will not be allowed. To our speakers, we do ask that you address the members of the board with your comments and not the audience. To our board members, please remember we do not respond to speakers except to request clarification of points made by the speaker. And to the members of the audience, we ask that you refrain from clapping, snapping, or vocalizing at any time during public comments. When your name is called, please make your way to the podium and state your full name before beginning your comments. And our first speaker tonight is Miss Karen Slade.
Good evening. My name is Karen Slade, and I am proud to say I am a retired ABSS employee. My purpose for being here, and I heard Dr. Fleming say that the dual employment thing would be discussed, and no, you would not move on it, but I just want to put a couple of bugs in your ear. I started working for ABSS in 1998 as a TA at Turntine Middle School. And I chose to become a bus driver. I asked Ronnie Wall, who was the principal at the time, if I could go through the CDL training because of a bus that was late every day, and those students just happened to be missing their breakfast. I chose to do that. That's something I wanted to do because it was something that needed to be done, but it was something that I had a desire to do for a while, and then the opportunity presented itself. Now, why am I telling you that? Because in trying to employ people in dual positions to drive a bus on top of whatever else they do, you're asking not to have any employees. And I say that because, like I said, I chose to drive a bus. I wanted to drive a bus. I enjoyed driving a bus, but everybody's not me. Everyone is not in that position that they're going to enjoy driving a bus and being responsible for 48 to 52, 55 children on a bus. Some people, it's stressful. I know some coaches from when I was at Southern, one particular coach, I had talked to him about getting his CDL. He said, "Miss Slade, I can't do it." He said, I can't handle that responsibility. And this was one of the coaches. And you have people that will not be able to handle that responsibility because it's a big responsibility. It's more than just driving that bus. You are responsible for these children's lives. And every time one of those children move on that bus, your eyes are taken off the road. So you're having to focus on the road and also keep track or keep watch on these children on the bus. It can become very stressful. And to try to, and I'm gonna use the word force people into dual employment and forcing them to drive a bus or telling them one of those positions is gonna have to be bus driving, you're not gonna have anybody working for you. I'm just gonna tell you straight up and honestly, because they're gonna choose their sanity and their peace over you telling them they have to do this. So I'm telling you, unless it's someone that really wants to do it and they have a passion for doing it, please don't ask people to do something that they don't want to do. They're coming into the school system because they want to help children, but it doesn't have to be driving a bus. It really doesn't have to be. I did it because that's what I wanted to do.
Thank you, Ms. Slade.
Thank you, Ms. Slade. Yeah.
Our next speaker is Jack Worley.
Okay, no worries.
Down a little bit.
So I won't jump out of my skin.
Amen. Testing, 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 testing. Testing, testing, testing.
All right, are we ready now? Okay.
Proceed when you're ready.
All right, thank you. All right, so I also came to talk about TAs being forced to be bus drivers. Much like this lady said, she chose to be a bus driver, and that's something different. But I'm speaking as an EC teacher. I'm an AC, EC, that's a lot of initials, teacher at Eastern Alamance. And I just want to put a little bit a different slant on it. being a TA is a set of skills for that classroom that not everybody has. But it is vastly different from the skills that it would take to drive a school bus. And making those two things one thing is like trying to make two things fit together, and they just don't. Those two things do not fit together. I also wanted to talk about people that are TAs sometimes may have a reason that they cannot drive a bus. It may be vision issues. It may be motor coordination issues. There's all kinds of reasons that they would make wonderful TAs still, but not bus drivers. So you're taking that entire population and saying, no, we don't want to hire you. Not at all. Just we don't want to hire you at all. And I think that's a mistake. We're already having trouble filling those positions. It's very difficult to find people to fill those positions now. I cannot imagine what that would be like if you made it this mismatched puzzle piece and tried to smash the two together. And one point of view that may or may not be risen by someone else, as a teacher in an AC room, let's say that I have an aide, and that aide is pulled to drive for a field trip because the person that was going to drive is sick. That now leaves me by myself in that AC classroom. I have students that I have to lift. I have grown adults that I have to lift onto tables. I have students that I need to monitor. So if you take and shortchange that classroom, you are looking for accidents to happen. And that's something that that's something that you would not maybe notice if you were not in a classroom. So I wanted to bring that to y'all's attention. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Tasha Brown. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Good evening. Thank you for letting me speak on this opportunity. My name is Tasha Brown, and I'm a founder of One-to-One Tutoring. I am a product of ABSS. I went to Cummings High School. I graduated in the top 25 of my class in 1997. My mother was also a school board member back whenever, I can't remember. But the mission of what I'm trying to talk about is to empower K-12 students academically and personally through compassion and individual instructions. I believe that every child deserves one-on-one tutoring and to reach their full potential that may be struggling behind. What makes one-to-one different is pretty much in my name, one-to-one. I tutor, or I have a staff. This is Miss D. I have a staff. We tutor one child for maybe about an hour, from kindergarten through 12th grade. And it makes a difference. We tailor each session for each child. The extensive experience that I've had with EOGs and EOCs, it actually works if we just take our time with the kids, because these kids don't do well with groups. I've seen it personally, especially with my son. And he already told me, he said, Ma, I can't do it. I literally can't do it. And so I have taken him and put him with one of my staff members, and he literally jumped up 2 grades. And I'm like, it's all in listening to these kids, listening to say, hey, Ma, I need help. So what I'm asking is to get into the school system to help the kids one-on-one. If the parents can't afford it, I understand it's a lot of, because at the time when I was at Cummings, we was not a Title I school. Now Cummings is a Title I, East Lawn, Andrews, Broadview, and I see that, and I have the kids there that are the Title Is, and I'm like, you mean to tell me you don't know this? And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, let's pull it back. Let's do this. And I literally had one kid who was at Western, and he had a 10, a grade average of a 10 in math, and that's my specialty. His mom texted me for the 4th 9 weeks, this one, he ended up with an 80. And it was by the grace of God, but he came in every 2 days a week tutoring, and he loved it. And I made it fun. But I just wanted to see if we could partner together to do something with these kids, because I look at it, these kids are our future. And if they cannot add, subtract, multiply, divide, I don't know what else we can do. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Tasha Miles.
Good evening. Good evening, School Board Chairwoman Ellison Graves and Dr. Fleming. My name is Tasha Miles, and I'm a current employee and a member of ABAE. I stand here today to share some concerns of current employees after speaking with other counties that have been presented with this same proposal. By requiring new classified staff hires to acquire CDLs, the district will reduce its potential hiring pool by limiting to only those interested in dual roles. The pool is certainly smaller and more limited to those interested in singular jobs, particularly non-existent. This will lead to an even more severe staffing shortage. These staffing shortages would increase risks in our school cafeterias and lead to line closures. We understand the challenges faced by our school system in filling vacant positions for these integral roles. We encourage our school board to search for more creative and constructive solutions to these challenges. However, this policy creates a mandate that worsens working conditions for classified staff hires. We would support other solutions, such as a pilot program that provides additional financial incentives that consent to fill both roles. I know that you all have received emails from NCAE members in Lee County about their concerns and the impact of dual enrollment in their county. I also know that our state president, Jocelyn Morrison, reached out as well. Some of our current classified employees have expressed concerns and are thinking of resigning if it passes. I would like for you all to please consider another route to get bus drivers. Let's not put more pressure on the good people we have currently. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you. And our last speaker this evening is Deshaun Bilden.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Deshaun Bowden. I'm here on behalf of my family, with my wife as well, to just bring to you guys awareness, list of grievances that we've seen with trying to get support for our children following the IEP process with their school system, Smith. I want to first state that we've done our part as parents to follow the process and get that guidance from the school system, including being there anytime they ask us to be, requesting personal meetings with the school, their individual teachers and administration. Some of those have been accepted, many of them have been denied. With me personally and my wife being in law enforcement, it's on me to help provide the support that our kids need in school, and they don't come from a bad background. We're an average middle-class family that's just trying to get the support for our children that we need for them to be successful in the school environment. We first met with the IEP team in June of last year, so we're now at a full year of trying to follow the process as explained to us by them on what we need to accomplish to get our kids the support they need. Back in October of 2024, I followed up with the IEP team on communicating the process and what we needed to get done, at which time there was a backlog with child psychologists of getting support for our kids, and we're finally able to get our kids assessed by the specialists in November of 2024. Once we receive the reports from the specialists, the reports, the abbreviated version, because we're trying to keep our kids protected, not knowing the full process and how much to disclose or who to disclose. We actually sent an abbreviated version to the school in February of 2024, at which time we had a follow-up meeting with the IEP team, and they told us then of some of the things that they were able to do at that point. Again, the process in which they ran down to us was never a holistic explanation. It was kind of as we did more things, they started to open up more. And that's where we are now. In the end of this school year, I had a follow-up meeting with the IEP team where I provided them with the full report from the specialist, where it listed out specific enhancements that they can make in the school system, providing specialty care for each of our kids that have different needs. And again, some of those have been met, most of those have not. We're now in June, a full year out, and we are no further along than when we started, and we're just looking for support. I did send an email to the superintendent of schools to kind of push things along, and lo and behold, a day after that email went out is when we had that follow-up meeting in April. But we still have no guidance on how our children can be supported for the upcoming school year. So that's what I wanted to say.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you for being here. Before I turn the floor over to Dr. Fleming and Mr. Messer, I did want to take an opportunity to recognize Councilman Ewing here from Mebane. My apologies. And Jason Weber, you may notice that Adam looks a little different this evening. Jason Weber is filling in with us from Tharrington Smith while Adam is traveling. At this time, I will turn the floor over to Dr. Fleming and Mr. Messer for the budget amendment. And then after that, can we have a chat about the budget agreement from Friday? Thank you, Mr. Messer.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the Board, Superintendent. Before you tonight is Budget Amendment number 2. There are 4 reconciled budgets before you. The State Public School Fund, if you bring up the other document, Vince. ABSS received an additional $246,000 in additional state allotment since the last budget amendment. And that is spread between transportation and through what we call economically disadvantaged public schools. There were additional allotments that came down for us to spend, and unfortunately, these have to be spent by June 30th of this year. So we have a game plan in place to make sure those funds will be expended by June 30th. With this budget amendment, the total state public school fund budget is $185,005,000, 141. The next amended fund is the local current expense fund. There is no increase in revenue, but however, though, we need to move services, we need to move funds to instructional services out of system-wide support services to cover the overages that we spend out of there. So there's no increase in additional dollars. It's just moving budgets to cover a few overages as we close out the school year. In the amount of $33,000 for instructional services. The next amended budget is the federal grants fund. That's an increase of $664,810, and that mainly relates to additional federal allotments for exceptional children. And it's also based off of our additional ADM as it relates to kids with special needs. These funds do not have to be spent as of June 30th. Those funds can be carried over because the federal grant years, they run 36 months for the most part. And then the last is the capital outlay, and we're increasing that budget $3.5 million, and that is for bond projects. Those are just to cover expenses that we sent over to the county to pay that are related to the bond and those projects. That increases the capital outlay to $30,400,000. With these four amendments, the total ABSS budget for 24-25 is $320,302,439. And are there any questions related to this? I do have one more statement. I did get notification from DPI that we did get some additional CTE funds that came down after this was published. And I did speak with our auditors, and we can bring a budget amendment later in July or August for your approval on that.
Thank you, Mr. Messer. Questions for Mr. Messer on this budget amendment? Yes, Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Messner, you said there was an amount on the local, and
If you'll go to the other presentation, Dennis, you'll see there we're moving $34,000 from system-wide support services to cover instructional services and non-program charges, which the non-program charges relate to charter schools. It's just moving money between purpose codes. There's no additional revenue. If you remember, whenever I first came to ABSS, this is the way the state of North Carolina requires us to adopt a budget, but that's not how a district really manages its budget. They manage it by purpose program.
all right, thank you, because, yeah, I was looking on the other one, looking for where it was, and so, okay,
Sure.
I see it now.
Any other questions? All right, is there a motion to approve at this point?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Dr. Parker. Is there a second? Thank you, Mr. Engel. Any other discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously 7-0. Thank you, Mr. Messer. Before we move on from the budget, if we may, I wanted Mr. Weber and/or Dr. Fleming to clarify something for us as well as for the community in regards to the agreement that we reached with our county commissioners Friday afternoon, and that is the question as to whether or not there's any further action required or voting action required on the Board of Education's behalf. So I'm going to turn the floor over to these two to kind of clarify that for the public.
Thank you. And I'm hoping the microphone is working. It looks like I need to hold it down and keep holding it down while I talk. Okay. And I'll just preface my comments by saying, the short answer is no. There's nothing else for the Board of Education to do. I'll also just say, my colleague Rod Malone has been advising the board involved in these meetings, so I do not have, full depth of knowledge as to the entire process. But my understanding is that the board on Friday met and approved the settlement with the county and announced the terms of that agreement in open session. So there is nothing else for the Board of Education to do at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Weber. Dr. Fleming?
I was going to say I did have a brief conversation with our county manager this morning. We do have to get a funding letter for our auditors by the end of the fiscal year, June 30th. We will get that. It will state the old budget number prior to the agreement. The county commissioners, while they did approve the agreement, they now have to amend their budget to pay for that portion. And so in the letter, she will put in there that also pending will be the settlement agreement amount, and then we'll get a new funding letter after they meet on July 7th. Thank you. And then we will be good after that.
Thank you both. Any questions or comments from the board? All right. At this time, I will turn the floor over to Dr. Denise Morton, our Interim Chief Academic Officer, for an academic update.
Good evening to our board members, Madam Chair and Dr. Fleming. What I prepared for you this evening are some facts and figures, but also some highlights of the academic division that I've seen since I've been here in my short time, but I wanted to share those with the board. I want to thank Emily Lynn and James in Communications for helping me put this together, so thank y'all. Okay. Just wanted to show you just some numbers of how many children we are responsible for serving. And you can see we have a total of 22,259 students, but the different numbers at each grade level. And then let's talk about our high school graduates this year. We had 1,686 children graduate. Most of you were at their graduations. You remember shaking their hands, right? So I do. But our seniors, the most important thing is our seniors earned over $28 million in scholarships. Is that not fantastic? So that was something I really wanted to share with the board and let you know that there's a lot of good stuff going on with those children, and they did a good job by earning those scholarships. Then we always look at enroll, enlist, and employ. So you can see most of our students, 65%, are going to enroll in a 4-year college or 2-year college. 4% plan to enlist in the military, and then employ. 19% of our grads hope to go right into employment. And then our district specialty schools are doing what they were intended to do. And that's keep kids in schools and help them earn additional things through ACC. But looking at the IB program, International Baccalaureate Program for next year, we can see that 51 incoming 9th graders are coming to Williams. And remember, they come from across the district. It's not just Williams. Then our pre-collegiate academy, we have 53 students coming into that. The Alamance Virtual School, we just got 170 students were enrolled for next year, so again, strong enrollment there. And then our early college is doing well, 81 incoming 9th graders. So again, what they're doing, what they're intended to do, and that's keep kids in school and have high academic achievement. And then just some things at the elementary school I think we tend to forget. We have 6 elementary schools that are dual language schools. So that means that they're teaching Spanish and English. And they also have some that are promote global showcases. So Alexander Wilson is a showcase global leader school, which means that K through 5, they're really emphasizing global education. The same thing at E.M. Yoder. Then the Leader in Me, which emphasizes capturing and really emphasizing leadership at the school level. We have 3 schools there, Andrews, Hillcrest, and Newland. Next year, we hope to add Broadview and Cummings as well. We're working with them right now. And then capturing kids' hearts, you heard Dr. Turner talk about this earlier, but Smith and Turrentine have done a great job being showcase schools to really, and capturing kids' hearts is to help build healthy, strong, safe relationships in our elementary schools. But you can see coming soon, coming attractions, how many schools we're going to add next year in capturing kids' hearts. So we're really excited about that. And I just wanted to mention 3 of our Title I schools. I heard someone mention earlier Cummings is now a Title I school. But Newland, Broadview, and Cummings were visited by the State Department this year. And the comment from that DPI representative, and I want you to look at that last paragraph, he commented on the level of learning and positive culture and climate changes at all 3 of those schools. And that's a real hearty endorsement of what those principals and staff are doing at those schools. Multilingual learners. Currently, we have 3,690 students that are multilingual. They also took the access test this year, and that's one that's for our kids that are enrolled in as multilingual learners. We had 463 of those students that made enough progress that they will no longer receive services through the ESL program next year, the NML program. So that means that something's going right with those teachers and those students, yes. And then we'll continue to assess those students to see how they do and keep them, provide continued services, track progress, and inform instruction. And I want you to look at all the languages in our schools. It's unbelievable. I know board members had a chance to see this. Of course, if you look at the very last thing, 3,367 homes are Spanish, which you might guess, but we are also trying to serve, we are serving students with these language, the different languages throughout the district. Okay? And cultural arts, we have a strong cultural arts program. Just wanted to highlight a couple things. 45 seniors this year earned the new Arts Endorsement Diploma. This is the first year of the seal that they receive. We had 22 ensembles that participated in formal performance assessments across the state, all earning superior excellent. So we're doing a really good job with our cultural arts. And we also have pre-K. We have 54 folks that we employ in our pre-K programs. That's teachers and teacher assistants. There are 23 classrooms across the district at 13 elementary schools. And next year, we've already received over 400 applications for the spots in those classrooms. So we have a very strong, robust pre-K program. And you know, our career technical education is so important. Dr. Fleming and I both were CTE directors at one time, so we're really proud of this. I think I really want to point out that 7,000 number of the credentials earned this year. That means that the students took the right coursework, the right pathway to earn credentials in those areas. And right now, of our CTE students, almost 66% of those are credential attainment rate. And grants, certainly we love to get our grants. LabCorp donated $10,000 for our Science Olympiad this year. It supported 5 elementary schools. Impact Alamance provided $100,000 for secondary PE grants, which we've already spent that money to buy the necessary things for our PE programs. And then Honda Manufacturing has given us $100,000 to put for use in a STEM program next year. It's going to be STEM on wheels. I'll just give you that little beginning. And then just some numbers about how many people we're employing to work with our students. 1,700 teachers and teacher assistants, 255 beginning teachers. Now, that's not just year one, that's year 1, 2, and 3. And then 83 participate teachers, which we're provided to from an agency in Chapel Hill that helps us provide teaching positions, and then 124 national board certifications. And then Summer Symposium last week was at Southeast High School, and we had over 400 educators, close to 400 educators out there working on their school improvement plans. So it was a very successful event, and they spent, the principals and assistant principals spent a half day with training on how to write an effective school improvement plan, and then the next day their teams came in and spent an entire day working on their school improvement plans for next year. So we think this is a very worthwhile activity that the school district provides. And I think that's it. I'll entertain any questions, but thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Morton. Questions or comments? Yes, Mr. Wagner.
Just a quick question. So we have 255 teachers years 1 through 3, is that correct? What's the retention rate past year 3?
I can't answer that.
Well, just want to understand that. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay.
Ms. Harvey?
I just want to say thank you so much for all that you're doing. Thank you so much for presenting this to us, because sometimes you don't know, and so even the community doesn't know, you know, and so it's good to see those numbers. It's good to see the things that the schools are doing, and it's just good to see our kids growing and all the great things that they will do after they leave ABSS. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yes, Mr. Rogers.
So just to piggyback, similar off of Mrs. Harvey, just thank you for the presentation. Thank you for showing the things that are going on and happening in our schools. One thing I just wanted to point out was around our multilingual learners, because being at some of the graduations, you were hearing some of the names, talking to some of the students, and then getting to talk to them about where their family is from and what languages they speak, and you start to understand that we have all of these students with so many vast cultures and languages and all of these things. And so it was just good to have those conversations with them, but also to see that too, because I know sometimes we talk about that we have all these multilingual students, but then when you can actually see how many that we have and the growing number of those students, because I think you had it on the slide that it's like at least an increase of around 250 from year to year. So that's a continuously growing number of those students too. So
It is. I want to echo what Ms. Harvey said. One of my intent was to bring this type of information to the board. I think sometimes we forget all the types of things we offer to our students and the facts and figures behind it. So that was my intent, is exactly what you said. You're welcome. Okay.
Anything else from the board? Did you have something, Dr. Fleming?
Oh, yeah, let me mention just one thing. When, unfortunately, Dr. Morton will not be in this role, hopefully she will still, talk to us at that point. But when our new assistant superintendent for academics comes on board, he will be the next one to present this information to you, and it will probably be September, October, after the State Board of Education releases the test scores and grades. And also, I thought this was very good as an overview, and then we'll get more or further into the weeds, I guess you could say. Once we do have our scores, then we have, we'll know growth and performance and all that. Usually, I think, if I remember right, the state board will pass that sometime around their board meeting around Labor Day. And so potentially after that is when we will be able to release it. Sometimes it's been a little later with pilot testing or if they're working on data, but I would anticipate September, October being able to discuss test scores and school performance grades.
Right. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Oh, Dr. Parker might have one more.
I'm so sorry.
Sorry,
I was
Dr. Morton.
Making sure that, on the CTE slide, what is a student concentrator?
That means a student that has determined to select very specific courses and a pathway to follow, and they stick with it through high school so they can earn a credential. So sometimes students will start in a concentrator area, then move somewhere else. I guess it's more important they figure out what they want to do or what they don't want to do. So that's sometimes what that concentrator data shows.
Yeah, and I had one more kind of detailed question, but so as far as CTE courses, if I take a course, through CTE, or I take it maybe the same course through NCVPS, how are those counted separately? Like I can pick like a programming language or something that I know is offered as far as CTE or not.
It still goes toward their graduation requirements.
Yeah, graduation. I was just wondering here if that was broken out as far as what we were doing in our district versus what we were maybe farming out because it was harder to fill some of the classes.
No, I think it's just offerings. I'm looking at Dr. Flynn because we were both CT directors. I can't think I could add anything.
Yeah,
to
they
that.
can take, if it's, we have, if we have the computer engineering course that offers the A+ exam and a student wants SAS, for example, SAS programming, I know is one of the, or Red Hat Linux or something like that, they can also concentrate in that through the VPS or through the community college.
I got it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Parker. Anything else for Dr. Morton? Thank you very much for being with us tonight. Great information. This time I will turn the floor over to Mr. Hook, our Chief Operations Officer.
Madam Chair, Dr. Fleming, members of the board, the first item I have for you tonight is the presentation of the SRO contracts. We have an individual contract for each of the 6 jurisdictions that we work with, and they're each linked here.
Thank you, Mr. Hook. Questions for Mr. Hook in regards to the SRO contracts that were attached for your review? Yes, Mr. Rogers.
I'm going to try not to rehash anything too much, but looking at the for the SRO for the Sheriff's Department, and I know as a part of what we the agreement with the county, we're giving them that 1.3 million on that, and just looking at theirs compared to some of the other ones. It was stating of course, for their SROs, but also their, I guess, like other staff and everything around the SROs. Is that part of that, I guess, agreement or request from the county sheriff's department also that we know of?
Well, with the smaller jurisdictions, they are paid per SRO, and we do not pay for any supervision levels in the smaller jurisdictions. When you get to the sheriff's department, they have 13 different schools. They're really spread out. So what they like to do is have a sergeant to work, I would suppose they'd say supervise all SROs, but then they also have a level of supervision below that in the north and then one in the south because they have so much territory to cover. Yes, it is part of the agreement with the county. Initially, in the budget process, the county redirected 1.3 million from our operating expense budget out, and they agreed to put it back. And so we're going to have a contract with the sheriff's department instead of the county paying the sheriff's department direct.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Hook.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Any other questions or comments?
Madam Chairman,
Yes, Dr. Fleming.
I feel like I'm talking during each item here, but I do want to share one thing, because I know this was a concern when we were having a budget conversation with the commissioners and all. Just so you know, we currently pay 12 months for all of these officers, or it's 75,000, is that for each one?
Yes, sir.
The one thing that we are going to have to do, and I don't want to scare anybody, we're going to pay for our SROs. I don't want anyone to get worried that we're not. We do want to look at an accounting method with Mr. Messer and Mr. Hook and our city, county, whomever, city, municipality, police forces, as well as our county, is we are going to have to look at a way that we document that we are paying from state funds, if it is state funds, if they do come from state funds, that we're paying that for the 10 months, because we don't want to get into an auditing issue. For the 2 months, they may be a road cop, or they may be doing something else for the sheriff or a police chief. We cannot pay that out of state funds or out of state SRO grant. And so some of the conversations we were having about the city police forces, and we may not, be able to cover all that, that is where that was coming from. We can pay for that locally. And so we are going to have conversations with the police chiefs, probably even city managers, to say, look, we're not going to cut anybody, but we are going to have to make sure we're documenting that the state funds are going directly to serving our schools. And so during the 2 months, we will have to work creatively in paying that either locally through our next budget request through the commissioners, or working with the cities of how we can fund those 2 summer months. With the exception of summer school, we certainly can pay that. We can pay if we have staff development at a school during the summer. I know we had an Alamance County deputy with us during summer symposium. Those we certainly can pay for because they're serving our schools, but we cannot pay out of state funds for an SRO that during those summer months are doing other things outside of serving our schools. And so I just say all that, that's not to scare anybody. We're just going to have to work with those towns to make sure we're not doing that. Yes, sir.
The main thing is that there's no kids in the school building, Sorry, Dr. Flynn. I just want to state the obvious, and that is that it's because students aren't in the building, and we have to use those at-risk funds on students. And if they're in the building, we can, but if they're not in the building, then it kind of gets into a gray area, which we don't really want to live.
That's right, because the state at-risk funds are for at-risk students, and if they're doing anything outside of serving students, we have an issue. So that's where all of that 250 and all of those conversations came from, that I know got you guys worried, got the community worried, got the county commissioners worried. So we're going to pay everybody, but we are going to have to work around some things there. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Fleming. Dr. Parker, did you have a question or comment?
Well, maybe one of each. So I tried to look at the contracts from last year, and it looked like there was really nothing that was materially different. I didn't know if there was something that needed to be called out, or was it kind of the same as far as the structure and that kind of thing?
More or less, the only specific difference is with the sheriff's department's contract, where it specifies the 1.3 million for the 13 schools that they have, for the level of supervision that they want to provide, and any supplementary service that they want to provide out of the 1.3. But it certainly specifies that the complete 1.3 is spent on the SRO program.
Great, thanks. And I appreciate Mr. Messner's efforts to keep us from audit findings. It's very important. So, yep, nothing further.
Thank you, Dr. Parker. I'll just say that, for the community's benefit, we pay our SRO position $75,000 is what we allot for those positions, if I'm remembering correctly. And that is to supplement that salary. That doesn't cover that whole salary usually. So I do want to acknowledge that our law enforcement partners are having to typically usually put with that in order to give them their full salary package. With the sheriff's department at 1.3, The rest of it is paid with, I think, at-risk funds that Tony or Mr. Messer just chatted about, and then an SRO grant that we've been fortunate enough to get from the state for several years, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a total of about $3.1 million. So I think that's a great testament to the district for making sure that we've got an SRO in every school. So thank you for that. That being said, is there a motion to approve the SRO contracts as presented?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Ingles. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Hall. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously 7-0. Thank you, Mr. Hook. You're up again.
The second item I have for you today is a paving contract for Western Alamance High School. The value of this contract is $348,224.80 with Triangle Grading and Paving. This is for complete demolition and repaving, which is going to also include a lot of grading at the student parking lot at Western High School.
Thank you, Mr. Hook. Questions or comments?
Just a quick question, Mr. Hook. Is there a performance grade on this, whereas the parking lot exists for the next 2 to 3, 4 years?
Well, I don't think the warranty would extend outside of the year. But we've had this company, come back and repair things that we discover after other paving jobs. This is a big job because the layer of asphalt that's on top of another layer is in terrible shape, and then the layer underneath is in terrible shape. So we've got to go down through both layers and then fix the base before we come back.
Any other questions or comments, Dr. Parker?
Just for the public, could you let us know where this is? So we approve this, and then you go to the commissioners for approval, or
These are capital dollars that are in our account. So once you approve it, we're going to move this project and get it done before school starts.
Okay, great.
And, sorry.
ahead.
So, Mr. Hook, with this too, we are projected that the parking lot will be ready to go by the time that school starts back for the students to be
Yes,
able
sir.
to park there and everything. Okay.
All right. Any other questions or comments? If not, is there a motion?
Motion to approve?
Thank you, Dr. Parker. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously 7-0. Thank you, Mr. Hook.
Thank you.
At this time, I invite Miss Yolanda Anderson to the podium. I believe is she doing dual employment or?
Yeah, I want to say, well, Ms. Anderson's coming to the podium. For folks that may be interested, this is not something we're bringing to you for a vote. We are between the new funding we received from the commissioners, which we're very appreciative of, and I will speak to later in the agenda. So that would be the supplement, as well as some marketing ways we want to be able to market bus drivers. I don't know that we necessarily need to move forward on dual employment right now. Now, I will say, come Christmas time, if the supplement is not working, some of our marketing efforts are not working, we may have to. This has been the fix for many school districts when it comes to filling bus driver roles, even post-pandemic. Several districts were before the pandemic, several have added on since. Do I believe it's something that would help us doing today? Potentially, but I do know, and you've heard from comments that, I don't know that everyone is on board yet. So we want to make sure we try to do all we can before we would implement this policy. So we're going to ask for about a 6-month grace period in there to see what we can do to increase our roles of, or I should say our ranks of bus drivers, and hopefully by Christmas time we'll feel like, hey, we're on the right road, no pun intended. But I do believe the classified supplement will help us significantly, so I want us to give that a try.
Thank you, Dr. Fleming. Madam Chair, Board of Education, thank you for allowing me to speak this evening. The purpose of my time is to see if there are any clarifying questions relating to the dual employment policy. As Dr. Fleming stated, he's not asking for a vote on tonight.
Anything from the board at this time? All right. Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Thank you, Dr. Fleming, for being willing to kind of put that on hold to see if we can accomplish that in a different way.
Also before you tonight, if you'll recall, during our last board session, staff presented policy 7430, substitute teachers. In red were the items that we wanted revised. Ultimately, the purpose of this is to ensure that HR staff can move forward with ensuring that staff members who have not met the 6 substitute teaching assignments from our email, also from finance, and so we were asking for those revisions. We did add, if you'll look at the last sentence in paragraph 2, a substitute teacher who has been dismissed due to failure to meet the requirement of at least 6 substitute teaching assignments within the academic year and who has not been dismissed for cause may be considered for reemployment. So we added that verbiage at your request, and I wanted to see if there were any further revisions that we need to make to this policy that's before you tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Any questions or comments on the policy as presented?
Just a comment, because this was something, not this weekend, the previous weekend, I ran into a couple of folks who have been substitutes in the district, and I'm glad we have that last statement in there, because a couple had talked about that on the fact of if they were not able to meet those substitute assignments, would they still be able to get reemployed and everything. And I told them at the time that I know there was discussion about putting something in that, so I hope they watch the meeting this evening to have that understanding, but be able to see that piece in there too. And then I know also a part of it, Ms. Anderson, was also some roster cleanup, because there was some folks who were still showing up in our substitute role that, I mean, I guess our substitute roster that had not been doing any subbing for a long time.
Years. Yes, sir.
So, yep, so that's all I just wanted to state.
Thank you.
I was just going to sort of say similarly, I think the clarifying role of that last statement is really important and gives a lot more flexibility for us, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else?
Motion to
Anybody got a
approve.
motion? Thank you, Dr.
Second.
Parker. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Any other discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously 7-0. Thank you. At this time, I will invite Todd Davis, our District Athletic Director, and Mr. Greg Cook to the podium for our next policy.
A few weeks ago, Mr. Davis presented to you all about the discrepancies between our school board policy and the policy of DPI, the High School Athletic Association, regarding athletic eligibility for our students. And at that time, he indicated that we would like to do away with that discrepancy. So this is a policy change request. It's a first read. You can see all of the verbiage that has been lined out, and then the red would be the direction we'd like to go. It puts us in direct alignment with whatever the current rule is of each of these agencies, whichever one is regulating eligibility for the specific grade level in sport. Todd is here. If you have any other questions, I would request that I do request that you consider waiving a second read and approving this if possible.
Okay. All right. Are there any questions? And if not, is there a desire to waive second read and vote this evening?
I can start out with a question. One quick thing there was some discussion about the number of, if you transfer, it's 6 months out or a year out or what, as far as aligning what we're doing with what the state recommends. And if I recall, the thinking was we would have maybe a shorter time period than the state. Is that still the case here?
Yes, sir. So this is only speaking to the scholastic requirements and doing away with
the GPA requirement of our student athletes, and basically just aligning whatever the governing body or state governing body says, that's what we meet and match.
Okay, great. And then the second question is, as a parent trying to find things on websites, if I were looking for what are the state requirements, is that something that's easy to find? Is there a way we can provide, maybe just as an implementation detail, a pointer or something like that on the website? I'm kind of looking at Dr. Fleming and also to you as far as making it easy for parents and students to figure out what that is rather than calling it out specifically in the policy.
Yes, sir. Finding it is easy. Interpreting it is a different story. And that would kind of help to where we can kind of simplify it, because now we have the 2.0, the 3 out of 4 classes. It's basically just 70% last semester. If you pass 70% of your classes, you're good. And if you were present 85% or more. It's basically those are the two things across the board.
So, Mr. Davis, real quick, so no longer would we have the 2.0 minimum GPA, is that correct?
Unless the state or governing body was to re-implement that. So this rule change or this policy change would just align us with the governing body. So for middle schools, it would be through NCDPI and whatever they set as eligibility requirements, and high school, the athletic association.
I remember one of the examples you gave, where if it's a year-long class, and then as far as some of the complexities there, it might be nice, and if when we post the details of this, if we have a couple of examples that people can look at and say, this applies to my case or not, because when I initially looked at it, I thought, well, how do you account for a class that's 8 weeks at ACC versus a year-long class or something like that? So I agree with aligning it, and I'll just maybe let you comment there if you have any thought.
Yeah, so with all of the things that we did discuss last time, those would only be scenarios if we don't change the policy. So if we do change the policy and align with our governing bodies, those scenarios are kind of irrelevant, because that kind of speaks to the 75% versus 70%. And really, if you pass 70% of your classes, you're present 85% or more, you're eligible.
So if you pass 75% of your classes, the 2.0 or lower, you're good, right? Is that what you're saying here?
If you pass 75% and you're below a 2.0 GPA, yes.
It's complex.
I just want to say that for me, I like the alignment. I like how, it's been reworded and it just makes sense. I know some people look at GPAs and they make a big deal out of them sometimes, but we have kids who really struggle to attain a certain GPA. Doesn't mean that they're bad students. Doesn't mean that they don't understand what they're learning, They just sometimes struggle to get that GPA. So I just think that this alignment just makes sense. And it makes it easier to understand for parents who might not understand.
And we currently do have kids participating that are below a 2.0 GPA, and it's a little confusing. So the 2.0 GPA is strictly based on the previous semester, not your cumulative GPA. So you could be a 4.5 cumulative GPA student, but if last semester you had tough classes and you fell below a 2.0, you're ineligible. So kind of cleans it up a little bit that way too.
If there aren't any other comments, I'd be happy to make a motion to waive second read.
I just have one.
Weigh in.
I was just going to say, I do like the alignment piece of it, just because I can think of times when, and I probably called you, Todd, to talk to you because of folks calling about, the variation between, I guess, what ours was, then what the state was, and they were like, they're trying to understand between both of them what they need to be doing and what they possibly need to be trying to make sure their child is staying within for their eligibility piece. And so I think that sometimes can get confusing for people when they can, when they see one thing from the state, then they see something from us, which is not saying that, of course, we're our own local district, so we're going to have our own local policies. But I do think something like this does give people a more clear line of sight between what the state has is we're following that same guideline, and then if they go about changing that guideline, then we'll realign along with what they're changing. So I understand the whole premise around going to this to get it more of a cleaner thing between us and the state.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Mr. Weber, did you want to add anything about?
Just a clarifying comment for the board. So as I understand it, this is a revision to an existing policy, correct? Not an entirely new policy. So under your policy development policy, you actually do not need a second reading. So revisions can be approved by a majority vote on first read. So you can just entertain a motion to approve as written.
Thank you, Mr. Weber. Is that the pleasure of the board?
Yes.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Engel. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Parker. There's a motion and a second on the floor to approve the revision to the policy as presented. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries 6-1. Thank you.
Thank you.
And before we move into board and superintendent comments, I wanted to recognize Commissioner Thompson, who joined us in progress this evening. We'll turn the floor over to Dr. Fleming to kick us off.
Well, thank you, Madam Chairman, members of the board. Good evening. I would like to begin this evening by thanking our entire ABSS community for their support during our budget discussions. I appreciate our county commissioners for their support of public schools in Alamance County. In the coming weeks, we'll be able to announce information regarding our certified and now new classified supplements, which will be available this fall. I will tell you, I'll go off script a little bit and say that Mr. Messer and I have had a few conversations on that, and I think we are good to move forward. While certainly our students benefit from this, what I'll say, better budget, our staff members will benefit as well, and I know they will be excited to hear some of the news we have to share. So that's a stay tuned type of item while we can get everything on paper. We had a very successful graduation season. Thank you to all who participated. I know this was a very special time for our graduates and their families. It's my goal to make next year's graduations, working with our schools, even better, and hopefully we'll have some plans we can announce there in the coming months as well. We've received favorable media coverage since we've been out of school, one regarding our budget, but also we offered books to all K2 students in the school district, and Fox 8 covered this at Sylvan Elementary School, and it was a wonderful story that Cindy Farmer did, and we even had Clifford show up, and we were all pretty excited about that, and thanks to Emily Lynn for lining all of that up. We welcomed our new teachers last week as they come into ABSS. Several new teachers coming the traditional route, the residential route, but also through our Grow Your Own program, and we've got some students coming out and still in school that participated in some summer PD, and we appreciate them taking part of that and look forward to having them as employees in ABSS. Last week we held our summer symposium. Dr. Morton mentioned this. It spanned 4 days. It was 2 days for half the county, the other 2 for the other half, focusing on school improvement plans. It was very well attended. I thought everyone was well engaged, and they had a good time there. But the most important part was they're able to crank out their school improvement plans as we look forward to academic excellence within the next school year. With all the hiring of the staff this summer, we would be wanted to see if the board would be open to a personnel-only Zoom meeting, and I am going to throw out Thursday, July 24th. Again, it would be on Zoom. No one would have to go anywhere. I do not. Was it 1 p.m., Karen? I think so. Let me make sure. That's an important detail. Okay, what time is that?
I don't have the time written down. I apologize.
Our proposal is going to be 1 p.m. If for some reason, before we notice the meeting, if we need to change that, we're flexible that day. Yes, they did. Now that you say that, I remember it, yeah. So we'll go with 1 p.m. on Thursday, July 24. I do not anticipate our meeting going more than 30 minutes. We will, again, we'll go into session, go into closed session, discuss personnel report, come out and vote. You don't even have to turn your camera on. In case you're in a bathing suit. If you're in a bathing suit, we prefer you do not turn your camera on. Maybe I'll be in one. You never know.
We'll make sure we get a picture of the screen if he is.
I can assure you I will not be. And so our next in-person meeting after that will be our Tuesday, August 12th work session. That will be at 12:30 here, and we're looking forward to taking, like I said, a couple of days of vacation between our staff, and I know you guys are, and we'll be starting the fiscal year here, the new fiscal year here soon. Madam Chairman, pending any questions, that kind of concludes my comments for this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Fleming. Questions or comments from board members? All right, we will move into board member comments. Who wants to kick us off? Thank you, Mr. Wagner.
First of all, it's great to be down here at the end of this, but it's my first year on this board, and I'm very excited about the future of Alamance County. It's exciting to be a part of this Board of Education. We get along very well, and I want to thank the county commissioners for funding our education system. And you have to hold us accountable. I understand that. We're going to be better moving forward. We've got great leadership. We've got a great team that wants the best for ABSS. And if we don't desire the best Board of Education, the best community system, the best education system in the state of North Carolina, we're misled. We have to desire to be the best. Will we always be the best? Probably not. But we have to desire to be there, work to be there for our children, the future of our kids. The people who are going to lead this county moving forward is our children. It's not me. It's not you. It's not our parents. It's them. We have to support them, provide them every opportunity moving forward to give them the best opportunity to be successful. I'm excited about the county commissioners. I'm excited about this Board of Education. And folks, the future is bright. I promise you that. We have to remember the mistakes of the past. We have to look towards the future, build towards the future, to understand and trust leadership moving forward. I want to say to the graduating seniors, thank you for everything that you've done for ABSS in the last 4 years of your life. We wish you all the best. If you're going to the military, going to school, whatever you're going to be doing in the workforce, we love you. We appreciate you. We're very thankful for our teachers and our leaders in our community. We're going to support our children moving forward, folks. This Board of Education, I promise you, is going to support our children moving forward. We're going to fight for every child, regardless of your background, what community you live in. We're going to move forward. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner. Mr. Rogers?
So first off, I want to thank y'all for coming out to the meeting this evening. Everyone who made public comments, always appreciate the public comments. Also want to thank our cabinet and school staff, especially during this budget time, for all of your hard work, all of probably the emails and questions y'all got from us also during that process. So appreciate y'all for that. Thank you to the work that was done by the county commissioners to get us to a spot where we can take care of our folks and take care of our students. That is very important. But also I want to give a big shout out to our community that came out to multiple meetings, our community that sent out emails, the community that continues to just stand by our school system and public education. You're truly appreciated, you're truly seen, and just thank you so much for our educators who show up every day. Thank you so much for what you're doing, the bus drivers and all of our school staff. Just thank you for showing up every day for our students. For some of our students, those educators, those bus drivers, custodians, coaches, any of those folks might be that one person they get a hug from every day. They might be that person who just puts a smile on their face. So that means a lot to myself, but I also can say to the rest of our board too, that means a lot to them. So just thank you for that. And also I got I always say Mr. Rogers out in the neighborhood, so I got to talk about that a little bit. I want to thank the city of Mebane for having me down there at their Juneteenth event, being one of their guest speakers. I appreciated that. Great event. It was hot, but hey, we enjoyed ourselves. We enjoyed ourselves a lot. Also to Rosalind Griffiths, who also put on the Juneteenth event to help fundraise for her local dance studio that she has that has a lot of our ABSS students in it. She invited me over to speak at that also, so thankful for that. And then also just want to give a shout out to all of our athletic teams. Always do great. I always say that if you want to win a state championship, you're going to have to come through Alamance County. Big shout out to Western and Cummings. They were both of them are two schools in the state that won multiple state championships in this one school year. It's not a lot of schools that did that. We had two of them here in Alamance County. And then today, before I came to the meeting, I seen where Kaylee Lee and Camden Brooks both won awards from the high school OT. That is statewide award, so congratulations to them also. And just continue on, have a great summer, great graduation season, and everybody just appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Dr. Parker?
Yeah, I have to say, I miss all the recognitions that we had at the last meeting. There were just none this time. It was long, but it was great. And all the good things happening in the county. I wanted to say that, and I know this is something that all the board members will repeat, but the graduations are some of the best parts of being on the board. You get to see everybody, and each school has its own personality, and the way they do things are a little bit different. I think everyone tried to get to as many graduations as they could. Sometimes they're at the same time, and we try to kind of divide and conquer. So if we weren't all there, it's nothing personal. I signed up for as many of them as possible, and they were all great. And the weather, I mean, apart from a little bit of rain for one of them, I think everything turned out very well. And I think the second thing is I also want to thank the commissioners for the additional funding, and do hold us accountable, but I think we're going to do great things. And that's all. Keep it short today.
Thank you, Dr. Parker. Ms. Harvey?
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I do want to thank all of the speakers who came out tonight to speak on, the things that really mattered to them, because what matters to you matters to us. I don't ever want you to think that we're not listening to what you're saying. We are listening. We might not always have the answers, but we're listening to everything that you say, and we really appreciate you having the guts to come out sometimes to speak, because it's not easy standing up in front of people talking. Also, just want to say thank you to our kids for finishing strong this school year, but a big thank you to our teachers who also finished strong, because I'm sure every day was not easy, but every day you made it work. Every week you ended on Friday with a smile. You sent kids home with a smile. That matters, okay? I just want to say thank you. Thank you to our custodians. Thank you to our administrators. Thank you to everyone who has a part in what they do with our children. Also, thank you to our county commissioners for getting the budget passed and helping us out. I'm just going to piggyback off of what, everyone else has said. Listen, sometimes we have to give people a chance, okay? We can't base things off of the past. It's a new board. It's a new year. We're here to do things right by our students, by our teachers, by our staff. It's not about us. I'll say it a million times. It's not about us up here, but it is about every student who touches the pavement, walking into every school within ABSS every day. That's what we're here for. We're here to make their future bright. And big shout out to the graduates. Of course, this was my first year being able to be at the graduations. It is a lot of emotions within, just being at the graduations, just seeing the kids, and some of the kids hugged me, and I didn't even think these kids knew me, but as they walked through, they grabbed me up and they hugged me, and that was just amazing. Amazing to see them, but also super amazing to see the things that they are going to do. The 2025 graduates blew it out the water, $28 million in scholarships. That is absolutely amazing. And that just goes to say big things about what ABSS is doing. And knowing that, if I just want to make sure my numbers are correct, 61% of our students said that they were going to 2-year or 4-year colleges. Come on, guys, pat on your back, because that says a lot about what they're learning. That says a lot about what our teachers are pouring into them to make them say, hey, when I leave here, I want to do it some more, So thank you for everyone, for all that you do. Thank you to our community. Thank you for showing up for us when we needed you the most. You showed up, and that just means a lot. So again, I just want to say thank you. And then I just want to end with, Give us a chance, okay? Let us do what we say we're going to do, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. Dr. Hall?
So I have had quite the month, I would say, since I've been sworn in. But I think what the last month, it goes back 2 months from when I first spoke here to take this position and wanting to take this position is, I think it has been a great experience. And I think the thing that I taken away with from this so far is, as was said, the success that Dr. Morton was presenting that our students have. I mean, this is why I wanted to be on this board. It's been amazing to work with these people up here on the stage. I've enjoyed the many conversations I've had in the last 2 months as people know that I'm interested in this and learning more about what the needs are. Appreciative of the county commissioners for the work that they put forward to help us get here. And I'm looking forward to another great year next year to keep on moving this forward.
Thank you, Dr. Hall. Mr. Engel?
I don't know whether I can top any of those. They were very, they were very good. First of all, thank you, county commissioners. This was one of the better budget years. Pam, you and I, we've sit through some tough ones, and Bob Bird also, where folks didn't really get along. We don't see that now, and that's a great thing. It's a great thing. Everybody's treating everybody with respect and dignity, and I certainly appreciate that for both of you county commissioners and the others. It was great the way it was handled. Back in 2004, when I first became a county commissioner, there was very little information that went from the school board to the commissioners in terms of how they spent their money. That's not the case anymore. I mean, you can go online and look at all of it now, and that's the way it should be. So we've come a long ways. I want to say this also about these graduates. I wish every single one of you the best of luck in whatever your endeavor is, and I enjoyed that too. I really did. And, you know, especially when you see a face that's familiar that comes bouncing up there grinning from ear to ear, you know, and it was great. Mr. Rogers, I know they only won one, I think. There was some individuals, but over at Southeast, girls basketball team, over a 3.5 GPA. Not a senior on the team, so stand by next year. And with that being said, I tell you what, with moving all these teams playing together in the county, there's going to be some wars started this year, and the attendance at these games are going to be outstanding. The gates. So I can't wait. I can't wait. It's going to be a great thing. So, with that, Madam Chair, I'll turn it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Engel. To echo a lot of what my colleagues have said, as we close out the academic year, we wish you all a safe and relaxing summer break. Thank you to our commissioners, two of which are here with us tonight, Commissioner Priola and Commissioner Thompson. Thank you for your work and your collaboration with the board as we navigated budget season this year. Special thank you to the county manager and the county staff, to our own ABSS leadership. And I want to thank the board colleagues, my board colleagues. As a board, you know, we are still fairly new. And I think that we are working together in a very unified way, and that we're making our public, particularly our students and our ABSS families and staff proud. You've put a lot of hours the past couple of weeks, and you know, many of us, if not all of us, hold jobs outside of our school board service, and we all certainly have responsibilities to family. So I just want to say thank you for what you've done. You've been present. You've, you know, your time and your attention away from other things to make things happen. So I appreciate that. And then lastly, I just want to say thank you to the community for supporting ABSS. You've shown up, you've spoken up, and you've stood up for public schools, and we certainly appreciate it. The agreement last week with our commissioners to increase the budget without mediation, it's a win for all of us. And I think that it's an excellent example of leadership when we can work together because we choose to and what we can accomplish. I'm excited about what next year brings. We certainly welcome the continued support, but as many of you have said, we certainly welcome the accountability. hold us accountable, make sure that we are spending every penny wisely and the way that we should. The financial dashboard, you've heard me talk about it since February. It's out there. Take a look at it. If you have questions, call or email any of us, and we'll be glad to find you an answer if we don't have it. If there's something you want to see that you don't see out there, let us know, and we'll start bugging these guys to see if we can put it out there. But our goal is to be transparent, and I am hopeful that this is going to be a new era next year for these boards to work collaboratively for Alamance County. I think we can move our county together, move our county forward together, and I think that's exactly where we need to be. So with that, I believe you have a motion for us, Mr. Engel.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do, but before I say my motion, I just want to thank this guy sitting here and that guy sitting there, Dr. Fleming and Mr. Messer. Y'all, both of you were well prepared when we went through our budget hearings and our meetings with the commissioners, and I really appreciate that. It was a great job, and thank both of you. Thank you. And with that being said, Board, I make a motion that we enter closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A3 to preserve attorney-client privilege. North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A6 to consider confidential personnel information protected under North Carolina General Statute 115C-319 and 115 through 115C-321.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Engel. Thank you, Ms. Harvey, for the second. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We will move into closed session at this time. We are back in open session. I invite Ms. Anderson, our Chief Human Resources Officer, to the podium for personnel report.
Good evening again, Madam Chair, members of the board, and Dr. Fleming. I ask that you approve the personnel report as amended in closed session.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. With no further business before the board this evening, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Dr. Parker. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Avery. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.